What's going on, guys? Larry here. I'm not going to get into a real fancy setup or anything like that today because I feel like this message is kind of urgent, kind of Captain Obvious type stuff today. And it has to deal with what we're going through financially as a nation and as a world. So if you haven't been paying attention, particularly to American economics right now, a lot of tariffs that have been slapped on various countries by the Trump administration is wreaking havoc on a lot of the markets around the world. I'm not going to do a deep dive into any of that. There's plenty of people and think pieces and all that will quench that thirst if that's what you're looking for. But I'm looking at things as strictly from a bodybuilding perspective because we're all consumers, but when it comes to the root of it, bodybuilder is consumerism times 10, right? You have to look a certain way, you have to buy certain brands, you have to do certain things. I think we're getting into some very interesting territory, and us as bodybuilders, us as fitness enthusiasts and people that like to live this lifestyle, a lot of us are going to get hit. We are not professionals. We are not a lot of us are just working class people. A lot of us are just working class people. And in my case, it's a particularly unique case because right now I'm unemployed and we're about to enter a bear market. So if you haven't been around for a while, I was too young to understand Black Monday back in 1987. I was grown for the 2008 recession, in which I was just a young college student. So I have some experience with that, but it was difficult finding full-time employment. It was difficult being able to give the money that is needed to be a decent competitive bodybuilder. So I didn't step on stage for a long time, very long time, until after college, really. We're about to enter that same space here in 2025. So no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, stuff's about to get more expensive for everybody. So I want to talk to you all about some things that you can do to kind of prepare. It can save 20 bucks or 30 bucks or maybe even 50 to 100 here and there, but over time that kind of adds up because we're going to be in this for a while. We're going to be in this for a bit. And I think it's in our best interest as people that want to at least do this recreationally that we prepare ourselves the best way we can. So the first thing I have is that if you have a gym that is close to the house, I would cut down on going more than 15-20 minutes out to train. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up, especially if you use premium gas like I do. Okay? Well, you're probably asking, well, Larry, why don't you use regular gas? I have a 2004 Lexus. Yes, it's years old. It still takes premium gas. And guess what? Premium gas costs a lot more than regular gas, and I can't use the regular gas because it will jam up the engine. And I cannot be out here in Minnesota with no car. So if you keep the gym close to the house, it may not have all the amenities you want. Like if you've all known, I train at Los Campeones in Eden Prairie, which is a 10-minute drive from my house in Hopkins, Minnesota. It does not have everything I want. In fact, it's probably the least equipped Los Campeones in the entire chain. And that's just because of space as well. However, it gets me what I need and it cuts down on travel time. Yes, I would love to train in Minneapolis. Yes, I would love to train in St. Paul. Yes, I would love to have an ultra black membership. But with those commutes being 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes away, I'm kind of setting myself up for failure if I keep doling out that cash to fill up my tank just to train. We haven't even talked about job or anything like that. So for us working class bodybuilders, and I'm talking people that don't do this as a profession, I think keeping it close to home is the best way for you to save some money. At least one of the ways, at least in the immediate. Now, also, I understand if you have a hardcore gym, if you have a choice between that and a Planet Fitness and you just cannot stand the Planet Fitness, by all means, drive that extra distance. I believe in you enough to where you can make that extra scratch to fill up that tank. But if you have an option, I recommend you keep that option of training at a place that's close to your house. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, food prices are going to go up significantly. All right. I'm surprised I can even get a carton of eggs right now at Aldi, which is where I do basically all of my shopping right now. They were $4.35 a carton. For us working class people, for us finding employment, keeping it bare bones minimum with 3 basic food groups is going to keep, or 4 is going to keep us alive. Some type of potato or rice, chicken thigh, chicken breast, some type of chicken. As long as it's not leg quarters, chicken thigh, chicken, boneless, skinless chicken breast. I'm going to tell you 80-20 ground beef, because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go old school. For those of us that came up in the dog crap training era, Dante Trudell advised us to get 80-20 and just rinse off the extra fat to make it close to as 90%, 95% as possible. I know at Aldi, and I'm just using them as an example, a big container of 80-20, and that's around about 2 pounds, runs me between $10 and $13. Okay? So I'm not just feeding myself in this household, I'm also feeding my family. Steaks out the window, all right? Because unless you can get it on sale, if it's about to expire, that's out the window. You know, luckily we were able to get some salmon, and it runs around about $20 there as well. So we got 2 fillets. You're just going to have to keep it cheap. And to be honest with you, I cut down my meal frequency to 3 times a day, because eating 5 times a day with these tariffs going on, it's going to be incredibly difficult for the 9-to-5ers. So I didn't say it's impossible. I just said it's incredibly difficult. Now, the good thing about it is that most supplements are made domestically. So if you have 3 solid meals and 2 shakes, the supplements probably shouldn't see a huge increase. Not ideal, not the greatest, but it is what it is. Again, if we're not getting paid professionally to do this, or we're not a professional with the opportunity to probably win some prize money, I think a lot of these tips will apply to you guys. Another thing to keep in mind is always getting rid of extra subscriptions. I have YouTube Premium. I got to get rid of it. We have Prime, and we use that. I could probably deal without it. But seeing as that's how I get my supplements from NutriCost, which again, I get it next day, I think that's a pretty fair trade-off, and I kind of order quite frequently. But a lot of subscription-based services you can live without. Sport. So I've already touched on training close to home. I've already touched on food. I've already touched on supplements. The only other thing that I can really think of is content creation. We are in a unique space in bodybuilding where if you don't create content, you essentially do not exist within the sport. Don't exist in anything really if you don't create some type of content. Guys, I just saw a report that said iPhones, which is what the majority of people film on because it has a great camera. I just read that an iPhone Pro Max, the latest model, I don't even know what it is. I have an iPhone 11. I haven't upgraded in several years. A report from Yahoo said a new iPhone could cost as much as $3,400. Steve Jobs could come out the grave and himself and offer me an iPhone, and I'm not buying that. But I say that to bring up the larger issue is that content creation costs money. I'm filming this through my iPhone with a Bluetooth connection going to my MacBook Pro, talking into a microphone that I got off a TikTok shop. All of this stuff costs money, right? So if you have a smartphone, if it's an old smartphone, hold on to it. Hold on to it. Do not get rid of it. Do not stop producing content because you believe it's a lower quality piece of equipment. No, continue to do it. You will get in a position where you can upgrade, but it's just not now. So when you see people with these fancy cameras, when you see people with these crazy podcast setups, don't get discouraged, guys. It's not going to be up to the par of what other people are doing, but again, you're just trying to break in and we're just trying to save you some money. All right? So that's a brief word on content creation. But we're about to enter a very interesting time. I don't want to say tumultuous. I don't want to say terrible, because I believe in every type of situation that's bad, there is room for positivity. There is room for optimism. There is room for growth. There is room for improvement. And I need you all to look for that, especially within you guys. So that's what I'm advising everyone to do. That's just from me being inside of that 2008 recession, which wasn't great. But understand, however you feel, this is where we're at now. This is what we're going to enter. Today, by the time this video publishes, is going to be Black Monday probably. And then we're definitely at day one of a recession. So I need you all to stay positive. I need you all to keep working hard. If you want to support your favorite brands like Hostile or any of that, please do. I like Raw Nutrition. I'm going to support Raw as much as I can. But if NutriCost can get me what I need for a fraction of that cost, that is what it is. Sorry. But guys, stay encouraged. Stay working hard. I believe in you. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be bringing you even more stuff. I'm going to talk about these programs you should be using that you've probably never heard of, especially for some of the rookies. But I'll get into that at some point. But until then, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you all. You all have a blessed day.